Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is part 2 of 100 places you need to visit before you die in the United States. I've just reacted to part 1, the first 50 pretty much, and yeah, if you want to see the reaction to that part, you can just find it on my channel. It was posted just before this one, so, or I'll try and leave a link somewhere. I'm doing so many videos, so I might forget, but I'll try and leave a link somewhere if I remember, but I don't know if I'll be able to. But yeah, this is the second part reaction, and already the places are looking crazy. And like just so diverse, but yeah, we're gonna see the second part of this video and see if they get better or if they're just consistent. But yeah, let's jump into this.
49. The Orchard House, Concord, Massachusetts. This is a very interesting place. This is the home of Louisa May Alcott. She wrote the 1868 classic novel Little Women. She is the first American woman to earn a living as a writer. They have open guided tours daily, except on a few different holidays, and it's free. 48. Alabama's civil rights sites. They have numerous historic sites throughout Alabama paying tribute to the brave men and women who have fought for civil rights. It's a big part of American history, and it's something you should probably see. 47. Cahokia Mounds, Illinois. These are really interesting. I first saw these on A&E with some show called Ancient Mysteries with Leonard Nimoy. These are earthen mounds built by a civilization that they figure disappeared a couple hundred years before Columbus ever set foot on the United States. Some of these mounds are just a couple feet high, but some of them are as tall as 100 feet. The historic site sits across the Mississippi River from St. Louis, covering about 2,000 acres. 46. Notre Dame Stadium, Indiana. Yeah, this is where the Fighting Irish play, and it's an amazing place to see a college football game. I think most people feel this is the most historic football stadium there is. Sure, if you're a college fan from someplace else, you're going to think some other college is better, but I think most people would consider this to be the best place to see a football game. 45. Mall of America, Bloomington, Minnesota. This has been...
See, I'm fascinated by big malls, right? Because there's a mall in London that's... What's it called? Westfield? Stupid, man. I hated it. It was too big and so busy. I hated it so much. So I don't know how a mall could make it onto this, but maybe this will be surprising in some way.
Been the largest mall in the country since forever. It's not going to be the largest much longer in 2023.
Let me just compare the sizes. Mall of America, because if it's any bigger, then I'm not going to hate it. I'm going to be honest. Mall of America size. 5,600 square feet. Wait, no, that's 5,600,000 square feet. What? And what about 2 million? So it's half the size, and Westfield was too much for me. Oh mate, god damn it, no thank you, man. Although this looks cool. You didn't get this in Westfield, that's for sure. That's quite interesting. They got what, a theme park in a mall? What? He's probably going to talk about it, but I just got to see. What the hell? That is crazy. I don't like theme parks, but I love seeing stuff like this for some reason. It's so fascinating to me. Nickelodeon Universe is in the Mall of America. That is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. What the hell? I love that though. That makes it more interesting to me.
It looks like Miami's going to have one that's going to beat them a little bit. And since malls are disappearing, this one might be worth a visit. 44. Mark Twain's boyhood home and museum, Hannibal, Missouri. This was the home of Samuel Leghorn Clemens, better known as the author Mark Twain, but he lived here from 1844 to 1853.
Oh, the music's got a bit intense.
43, the Hoover Dam, Arizona and Nevada. It's right there on the border. This one I've been to, and the day we were going there, I was like, why are we going to see a dam? This sounds stupid. And I got there, I was impressed. It's not the largest thing I've ever seen, but it's just kind of strange being in this valley and how tall it is. And it looks like this big, perfectly smooth slab of cement from the outside. Very interesting. And the history of the place is incredible. 42, Cedar Point Amusement Park, Sandusky, Ohio.
Not a fan of amusement parks, but I still find it cool to look at them, but I would not be riding those roller coasters. I'm going to be honest.
Proclaimed roller coaster capital of the world.
Oh,
this is a
God.
must visit for roller coaster enthusiasts. If you're a roller coaster enthusiast and a hardcore one, you've been here already. But if you like roller coasters, this is a good one. When it was first opened, it was just a public bathing beach. And it's also a little haunted. They say there's a ghost that lingers around the carousel. 41. Apostle Islands National Lakeshore, Wisconsin. This is a group of 21 islands and a 12-mile stretch of coast on the mainland. It has more lighthouses than any other site in the national park system, with 9 historic lighthouses on 6 different...
I love how... Oh, shit. I love how this looks, though, because it's like these rock formations like this with the trees on top, just slowly eroding away, I guess. But there's probably so many underwater caves and stuff.
The national park system, with 9 historic lighthouses on 6 different islands. Visitors can hike, paddle boat. It's got a lot of really cool stuff to do here. It's one of those places you go on a nice summer day. 40. The Art Institute of Chicago. The Art Institute of Chicago was founded in 1879 and it is still going. The museum contains more than 300,000 works of art. 39. Wrigley Field, Chicago. Yeah, staying in Chicago, you got Wrigley Field. This is where the Cubs play. It is known for its ivy-covered brick outfield wall.
What's the capacity here? Because it looks low here, but I know this side of the side that's not shown pretty much of the baseball stadiums are always the biggest size because that's just how it is. But what is the capacity of this? Because it looks pretty full. I mean, maybe not here, but and also where are the best seats for these games as well? When you go to a baseball game, where are the number 1 seats, the most expensive seats actually? Probably somewhere here, right? I mean, I would assume it's just the closer to the center, the better, pretty much.
Giant chewing gum businessman William Wrigley Jr. bought the Cubs in 1920.
Wait, so that's why it's... Obviously, I know Wrigley's chewing gum, but I always heard Wrigley's, and I always thought, is this because of Wrigley's? But I just assumed it wasn't, and I thought it'd be stupid if I asked. But that's what it's named after. God damn, I should have said.
It was named Cubs Park from 1920 to 1926 before renaming it Wrigley Field in 1927. If you want to see a baseball game, this is one of the best places to do it. 38. American Museum of Natural History, New York City. This is...
See, natural history museums, they're cool, right? But I just get really bored of them. I like them, right? But there's just too much to take in. I went to one in London before, probably like twice. And I think when I was younger, I do enjoy them, but they're just so big. There's so much to see, and I just end up getting really tired. My legs end up hurting, and I'm just like looking at stuff, but not really taking it in. I also went to one in Vienna when I went, and it was cool, but it's just like, I like history as well. I do really like history, but there's just so much information to take in. I feel like when you go to one of these, you need to go multiple times because, again, for me, it's just a lot of information to take in, and I just end up not taking it in after I've been there for like an hour or whatever. I don't know.
This is one of the best museums this country has to offer. Probably is the best. It opened in 1869. It used to be located in Central Park when the first exhibits opened in 1871. This is an interesting fact about it. In 1964, more than 400,000 worth of jewels were stolen from the museum.
Damn.
37. Independence National Historical Park, Philadelphia. This is where the Constitution was debated and written out, and it was also signed here. The park represents the founding ideals of this nation. It's also got the Liberty Bell, so that's something neat to see. 36. Alcatraz Island.
This would be an experience,
in
man.
San Francisco, California. Everybody knows about Alcatraz, and they've had some movies about escapes they had here. It first opened its doors on August 11th, 1934. This was also when the first prisoners showed up.
Mate, imagine being a prisoner here. That is just a whole other level, man.
35. National Museum of the American Indian, Washington, D.C. This is a newer museum. It was only opened in 1989. It houses permanent and temporary exhibits that showcase the diverse heritage and history of the North and South American Indians. This museum is the largest of its kind in the world.
Damn.
34. Newport, Rhode Island. In 1657, Newport, Rhode Island operated the first ferry service in the nation. This is an old colonial place, and it has more colonial homes
Is this the ferry?
in use than any other location in the U.S. And yes, it is in Rhode Island. Most people seem to think that the only city or town or anything they have in Rhode Island is Providence. There's more to this state than just Providence. 33, Denali National Park, Alaska. I'm not really doing this list in any kind of order, but I think if I was, this would be at least in the top 5. Denali is amazing. It became a national park on February 26, 1917, and it's basically centered around Mount McKinley. Actually, its native Alaskan name is Denali, which Denali National Park, you get it. 32, Yosemite National Park, California. Just an all-round beautiful place. Like Half Dome is there. You have Yosemite Village, which...
Look at these. I could see these views and I will never get bored. And this is on a computer, man. I said this, was it to part 1 about like seeing animals. When you see animals on the TV screen, like it's cool, right? Like you see them and you're like, wow. You see them in person, it's a whole different level. Like it's so fascinating. But seeing a view like this in person would be so insane. I couldn't even imagine that, honestly.
Which is kind of neat to see. Then you have Yosemite Falls, which is really an impressive waterfall. It's the highest waterfall in North America and the 5th highest in the world. 31, Acadia National Park, Maine. So this is a national park that nobody ever really talks about. I've been here. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's not up there with Yellowstone or Yosemite, but it is definitely a nice place to visit. Acadia is the 5th smallest national park in the United States.
What's the smallest?
30, the Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. If you've never seen the Rocky Mountains, this is a good place to start seeing them. The Rocky Mountains have an average altitude of 8,000 feet. The mountain range stretches over 3,000 miles and covers 6 different states. '29, The Wave, Arizona. The Wave is a sandstone rock formation located in Arizona.
It's like you're on Mars. This looks like what Mars would be like. What the heck?
Near its northern border with Utah. The Wave is so well known amongst hikers and photographers that they actually have to limit the amount of people that go there. They have a daily lottery system used to dispense only 10 next day permits in person and 10 online permits.
Oh,
so
damn.
basically 20 people a day get to go check this out with a guide.
Wow, they really like lock this place off then. Fair enough.
28, the Iowa State Fair. The very first Iowa State Fair was held in Fairfield, Iowa between October 15th and 17th in 1854. It's the single largest event in the state of Iowa. They get 1 million people a year from all over the world to come see this fair. Iowa, of all places. 27, New Orleans. If you watch this channel long enough, you know that I always say go visit New Orleans, stay in the French Quarter, be careful, and...
I do want to see New Orleans one day because I think it's such a... The way the streets look is such a different style. Like, you're in the US, but I feel like the ways the streets look, again, it's like it's a mixture of back in time, but also the future sort of version of it. And it's just so, like... I love just how... It's just the style. It reminds me of, like, Red Dead Redemption, the game. If anyone's played that, it's just... I don't know, but these, not necessarily these streets. I mean, like the smaller sort of back alley streets and stuff.
Don't go too far out. It's a pretty dangerous city. The French Quarter is definitely something you want to see. New Orleans in general, it's a nice place to see. Just be aware of where you're going. New Orleans
like
was
this, just so unique. It's so different to anywhere in the world. Would you get this in France? I don't think you would, right? This is the style of it, but you wouldn't get this sort of style in France. Maybe you would. I don't know, but
founded in 1718. And the first community was nothing more than a trading camp on the curving east bank of the Mississippi River. 26, Salem, Massachusetts. Salem is famous for burning locals when they thought they were witches back in 1692. This was a big thing. As a kid, I was scared about it. I watched too many movies about this. But the burning didn't stop there. The actual entire city was burnt in 1914.
Jesus, what the hell?
25, Glacier National Park, Montana. This park was established in 1910. Glacier National Park covers over 1 million acres. Currently, it's home to 26 glaciers, but the numbers are shrinking, down from 150 in 1850. They've only had 10 bear attacks in the history of the park. Oddly enough, 2 occurred on the same night, miles apart. Both victims were 19-year-old females. That was 54 years ago this August. 24. Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course you have to visit Las Vegas, Nevada at least once in your life. It's known for its gambling and its shows and all that, but these days it has so much more to do than just gamble and drink. There's a lot of great shows, a lot of activities to do there. It's a fun town. 23. The Columbia River Gorge, Oregon. The Columbia River Gorge was created about 40 or 60 million years ago. The Columbia River is the largest river in the Pacific Northwest and the 7th largest in North America. The river flows from British Columbia through the state of Washington, forming much of the border between Washington and Oregon before it finally gets to the Pacific Ocean, near Astoria, Oregon. 22. Atlantic City, New Jersey. There's not a lot of things to see in New Jersey, not a lot of reasons to go to New Jersey, but Atlantic City's worth seeing. They've got a great boardwalk and the world's largest musical instrument. It's a massive pipe organ with over 33,000 pipes inside it. 21. Seattle's Gum Wall. People have been sticking gum on this wall since the early 1990s.
God damn it, man. Gum walls. That's a different beast.
It's about 50 feet long and it's just covered with gum. They tried to clean it in 2015.
Why would you try and clean it? The whole point is to put gum on it. Make it as gummy as possible.
Ended up removing 2,350 pounds of gum, and it took them over 100 hours to clean it. They just started.
What a disgusting job that is.
Right back up after it was finished. It's located right outside the main
How the hell do they put it up here? I guess they throw it up, right? You throw the gum up here to try and get the stick.
entrance of Pike Place Market. I was just there like 2 weeks ago. It kind of smells.
Oh, lovely.
Number 20, the Fremont Troll, Seattle, Washington. Yep, we're staying in Seattle. The Troll was created in 1989, and it's this like sculpture underneath a bridge. Looks like a troll. They kind of had this art competition to revitalize the underneath of the bridge because it was just a dumping ground for everyone's trash and people sold drugs there. So they did this. It's kind of nice now. Tourists go there. Ever since the bridge was built in 1932, and the sculpture was inspired by the folklore of Billy Goat's Gruff. It's kind of weird when you see it though. 19. The Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. The Great Smoky Mountains are estimated to be around 300 million years old. That would make them one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth. The mountains are officially entitled the Salamander Capital of the World. They have a lot of salamanders there, in case the Salamander Capital of the World didn't tip you off. The Great Smoky Mountains are beautiful. I would suggest anyone in the Tennessee area, just go see them. There's about 1,000 miles of trails in the park for hiking and mountain biking. Number 18, Orca Island, Washington. This is
already tell just looking from the start. This place looks nice as hell.
It's located in the northwest corner of Washington State in the Puget Sound. The island's got a population of just a little over 5,000 people, and it's only 50.
What makes me cringe though is you can sort of see where it's a bit more shallow and it just gets deep. Is it just a sudden drop? Oh, that makes me cringe thinking about
57
it.
square miles. There are orca here all the time. You can see them, but if you really want to see orca out in the waters off Orca Island, go between May and October during the salmon run. You can see all the orca you want, and this is worth it.
God.
17. Disney World, Orlando, Florida. Who hasn't wanted to or been to Disney World or Disneyland? I grew up near Disneyland in Southern California, and Walt Disney World in Orlando is so much bigger. It was opened on October 1st, 1971, with just one park, the Magic Kingdom. Now they've got all kinds of animal parks and everything else like that. This is like one of those once-in-a-lifetime trips you got to take your kids on when they're, you know, under the age of 17 and they can actually enjoy it. Number 16, the Puget Sound, Washington. Now we're looking.
How does it compare to the? Wait, let's just see all Disney theme parks. Because there's what are the two most well-known ones? It's the Florida one, and for me, it's the Paris one. But I don't know if that's well-known around the world. Biggest Disney park in Florida. Smallest one. So this one's space of over 47 square miles. Land. How big is it? It's half the size pretty much. It's a lot bigger than. Why isn't it? I mean, when was that one made? 1992. Damn. So it's been there for a long time.
looking at the whole Puget Sound, not just Orca Island or Seattle. This
The Florida one would just be cooler because it's just the weather. It's just paradise, isn't it?
area is mostly cold and wet, which means it's also green and beautiful. It's one of my favorite places to go. Up near Seattle, just anywhere around Seattle. I love it up there. Number 15. Highway 101, Oregon, California, and Washington.
Highway?
This is the greatest road trip in the country, I think.
Oh,
In the
okay.
early 20th century, it was almost impossible to travel along the Oregon coast unless you had a boat, because many of the small towns weren't connected and they had no bridges. You had to go inland and then come back, and it was just a nightmare. The highway was created after World War I when Oregon voters approved the construction of bridges and roads all up the coast. California did the same thing. Number 14, Arches National Park, Utah. More than 2,000 natural stone arches can be found in this park. From a distance, they sort of look fake, like someone came in to make a sci-fi movie like Star Trek and just kind of left them there. The natural formations are a result of temperature changes. Sweltering heat, to freezing, to thawing, to rain, snow. They've shaped these for thousands of years. The tallest arch is the South Arch.
Have they ever fallen? Because surely they're eroding at some point, or they're just standing and nothing's happening.
Of Double Arch, which is 144 feet. Number 13, Taos, Pueblo.
What the hell? Is this where people live now? Or is this like an old village from years and years ago?
New Mexico. These adobes were built with mud and straw like all adobes are, and they have sheltered Native Americans for nearly 1,000 years. The Taos Pueblo today appears pretty much like it did when the Spanish explorers arrived in 1540. It is one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities.
What is inhabited? Wow, that's crazy. That might be my favorite one so far. That's insane.
In North America. Number 12, Pike Place Market, Seattle, Washington. This is a very interesting place. In 1907, when it opened, the city council members' idea was to cut out the middleman, so you didn't have any, like major chains coming in to basically take the fish from the fishermen and then sell them to the public and take their cut. They wanted the fishermen to sell directly to the people or other farmers, whatever. They just wanted to cut out the middleman. The iconic neon sign was installed in 1937, and the first Starbucks ever was opened here in 1971. Number 11, Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois.
What is this for? Is this for concerts? There's seats here. I guess people sit here and there's like concerts here. That's quite cool. What the hell?
Millennium Park is pretty much in the center of everything in Chicago. It's not like the center of it, but near the loop where everything's going on. It opened on July 16th, 2004. It's a 24-acre park that replaced what was just a desolate area of railroad tracks, parking lots, and homeless people and everything else like that. It went $340 million over the original budget. And it's where they got that big silver bean, the chrome, whatever shiny bean. Check that out if you're ever in Chicago. Number 10, Grand Central Terminal, New York, New York. Grand Central is one of the world's largest, busiest, and
What, you just want to go to a train station? I do like how this looks like, because usually train stations, they try and make them look modern and stuff, but I like just the style of this. It looks like you're going back in time.
favorite train terminal. This place is chandeliers, marble floors, marble walls. It opened back on February 2nd, 1913, back when they made beautiful buildings worth keeping for 100 years. They don't make them like that anymore. As you walk in, there's a massive golden clock that's estimated to be worth about $20 million.
Whoa, what?
You can take private tours where they'll tell you all the secrets and show you like hidden staircases and underground rooms, all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Jeez.
Number 9, Portland Headlight, Portland, Maine. This is probably the most iconic lighthouse we have here in the United States. It's photographed all the time, and if you ever pick up a postcard from New England, chances are it's going to have this lighthouse on it. George Washington actually commissioned this
Look at this coastline, by the way. God damn, man. If people live on this coastline, you are living good.
lighthouse in 1790, designed to tower over the lightkeepers' quarters in Fort Williams Park. Number 8, Diamond Head State Monument. Most people don't realize this if they haven't been to Hawaii, but they see Diamond Head and they just think it's like a peninsula. It's actually a crater. If you see it from the sky, almost looks like Crater Lake without the water. There are great views from the top of Diamond Head. The military realized this back in the day and they put a bunch of lookout towers up there. Bunkers from those military days are still at the top of Diamond Head. You can hike up there, it's only 560 feet above sea level, but I will tell you this, it is always crowded. There always seems to be a whole bunch of people up there, so trying to snap a perfect selfie at the top of Diamond Head might get tricky. Number 7, Philadelphia City Hall, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This city hall doesn't look like it belongs in the US. It looks like very much a 1600s European building to me. It's just gorgeous. It's the largest city hall in the country and the tallest masonry bearing building in the world. It's currently the 16th tallest building in Pennsylvania. A lot of history went on in this building, and it's definitely worth a visit. Number 6, South Beach, Florida. When you think of Miami, you think of South Beach. That's the beach that's in all the movies, in all the ads. It's going to be South Beach. It's beautiful, the Art Deco. It's amazing. The people here are beautiful. So if you're a little bit older like myself, you might feel out of place hanging out at the beach here. But if you're younger, this is a great place to be seen. And it's a beautiful beach too.
It does look good.
Number 5, Times Square, New York.
Mate, I want to go here one day as well. This place fascinates me so much. It's just so out there, you know? It's just all these lights, all these things going on at the same time.
City. Times Square is probably one of the first things that come to mind when you think about New York City. More than 50 million people visit this area every single year. It used to be kind of gross back in the 1980s. It was filmed with like adult theaters and stuff like that, but it went...
Really? What the fuck? Take me back.
Through revitalization in the late 80s, early 90s, and it's a really nice place to just at least see once. It's touristy, obviously. It's a neat place to see. Number 4, Blue Ridge Parkway. It's in Virginia, North Carolina. A lot of people say this is the best road trip in the United States. I still think the 101 along the California, Oregon, Washington coast is the best one, but a lot of people say this is the best. It's not just the drive either. It's beautiful scenery, hiking trails all over the place. The entire parkway is 469 miles long, and the speed limit is 45 miles an hour. It'll take you 12 hours of driving with no bathroom breaks, no traffic, no road delays, no stopping to take pictures. 12 hours to complete the whole thing.
Jeez.
Number 3, Death Valley National Park, California.
What the fuck?
California has some serious extremes. Death Valley is one of the hottest places on the earth, and it actually holds the record for the hottest temperature ever measured. It is 3.4 million acres. Death Valley is also the second largest national park in the
That's not real. What the hell is this?
United States. And it's got over 1,000 miles of roads to explore. A lot of them are dirt roads, but you could explore them. I'm not a desert guy, but I've been to Death Valley more times than I can remember, and it's got a certain beauty to it. Just make sure you got a good cell phone on. You get stuck down one of these dirt roads and you don't have the right supplies, you will die. Number 2, Route 66. This is the mother of all road trips. It starts in Chicago, Illinois, and stretches all the way to Santa Monica, California, at the Santa Monica Pier, actually. This route is what brought so many people to California back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. This is how all the wannabe stars got to Hollywood back in the day. There's a lot of historic and weird things along this route. I don't know if anyone really does the entire thing anymore. It just seems like one of those things you'll do parts of it. That's about it. I tried one time. I didn't make it far. We had a whole plan of 3-4 days of doing it. We made it to the second day, turned around and came back to California. And number
Alaska,
1.
as a whole.
Alaska. Yeah, the entire state is something you should see, not just Denali. There is so much to see in Alaska, you won't know where to start. My suggestion, start at the Kenai Peninsula. Hook yourself up with one of the many guided tours of the state. You will see bears,
Wow, look at
bears,
that.
moose, whales, lakes, glaciers, waterways. It's an amazing state. Most of this state is untouched. It's just there as it probably was 1,000 years ago. Alaska has around 100,000 glaciers and more coastline than the rest of the United States combined. It's also the only state to have coastline in 3 different oceans: the Arctic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Bering Sea.
Dang.
All right, that's our list.
I enjoyed this a lot. This is a good looking. A lot of things I didn't know. Went to like all aspects, whether it was obviously national parks, but then cities, museums, all just different. Literally everything you can basically think of, and yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I mean, if I could go to any of these one day, that would be cool. But it's getting to them in the first place. But I mean, this is an interesting look into the best places in the US, and I'm sure you could make another video of 100 other places, and then another one of another 100 places. There's just so many things, right? But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And also, if you've been to one of these places, let me know what it was like for you. I'm guessing some of you have probably been to upwards of 20 or 30 of these, maybe even more. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, and until next time, like, subscribe.